Ghouls and Ghosts on the TurboGrafx 16? Where did this mess come from? Yes, this is Ghouls and Ghosts on the TurboGrafx 16, but it's... I'm not going to say it's an Easter egg. It's something of a hidden gem. I want to call it a gem if you're the kind of person who likes this kind of game. So how did I find this game? Because this is a TurboGrafx 16 Mini. When did Ghouls and Ghosts come out on the TurboGrafx 16 Mini? Well, it's actually the Japanese version called, pardon my Japanese, Daimakaimura? Demon Castle, right? I forget. My Japanese is not good. It's practically non-existent. So if you're on the main menu screen, you go down here to where it says Select Console, you can switch to the Japanese ROMs. The vast majority of games on this TurboGrafx 16 Mini are Japanese. So if you're wondering, hey, where are all these games that are on the back of the box? Well, that's how you get there. Yes, thankfully you don't have to know how to read Japanese to play this game, especially if you're like me and you've played the Genesis version of this game. And I played the original arcade game, actually. On, yeah, I played Daimakaimura. Yeah. Daimakaimura. Like I said, I gotta practice. That's how I'm gonna learn Japanese, kids. I'm gonna read title screens. But yeah, this game was obviously an arcade original. I played it on the Capcom Arcade Collection, I want to say, back in the day. I think I played it on the PlayStation Portable, yeah. And then I played the Genesis. Actually, I think I played the Genesis version first, which was a very good game for what it was, even though it's annoying as crap to play. Which is actually included on the Sega Genesis Mini. I played a bit of that last Halloween in 2020. So I'll be playing this game now. It doesn't have some of the presentational bits. Like, it doesn't have, like, the map, apparently. The map screen seems to be completely missing. There's a timer here. I don't think there was a timer in the Genesis version. It has... I'd be sort of curious to see how it compares to the Genesis version. It obviously is better than the NES version that Micronix developed back in the day. You know, back when Capcom was outsourcing their arcade games to Micronix for the Famicom and the NES. They were awful. Ikari Warriors was awful. Ghouls and Ghosts was awful, and there was one other game they did. Jeremy Parrish, who does the NES Works series on YouTube and the Retronauts podcast, apparently. He's been tracking the developers of those old Famicom and NES games, and Micronix was one of the companies that was tasked to make ports of 1942, I believe 1941. I think it was 1942, Ghouls and Ghosts, and Ikari Warriors, maybe a couple of other games, and they were all awful. Like, to a man, they were just terrible. This game, as I said, is an arcade game, so if you play Super Ghouls and Ghosts in the Super NES, that's why you're noticing that the character can shoot his projectiles upwards and downwards, instead of just left to right. There's no double jump in this game, so keep that in mind. Also worth noting, there seem to be more mimics and magicians hidden inside of treasure chests from what I've noticed so far. So this game actually might be harder than the arcade version, which is saying something. So let's get started here. We'll do a trial run here. I played this game for about 10 minutes. I'd say it's harder than the Genesis version, but I was playing the beginner difficulty, I want to say. So maybe that limited the number of mages that appear. Check out this beginning, by the way. Guns them both down like in a Double Dragon 2. I thought she was supposed to be kidnapped. I didn't know she was supposed to be killed. I mean, are we avenging her death like Aerith in Final Fantasy VII? I mean, what are we doing here? See? Got a mage right off the bat. And I'm host. Okay, right off the friggin' bat. So you have to work on your timing on these projectiles you're throwing. Remember, no double jumps. You can change direction mid-air, but that's it. Let's start that over again. Actually, let's play a normal round of 3 deaths and just start over from the beginning. Okay, so the map does appear here. It just only appears after you die. It doesn't appear at the beginning of the game, which is kind of weird. So you have to jump over here on the far left side of the screen to get the treasure chest to appear, and that serves no purpose because it just transforms me into a duck. She turned me to a duck. I don't remember this thing. Looks like a spear to me. Is it just as strong? God, you can't throw anything diagonally in this game. Oh, it crawls along the ground. Well, that's cool. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Okay, so it crawls along the ground and it goes up slopes, but doesn't go through anything. That's fine. I can deal with that. Yeah, it slides on the ground. That's kind of cool. This was definitely not in Super Ghouls and Ghosts. There we go. Can I hold down the button? Oh, turn off the turbo. Guess I have to turn off the turbo button if I want to get the super power-ups. Ooh. Intriguing. So hold down the attack button. And you'll get the mirror attack. Okay, so it's like a shield. Weird. That is kind of not useful. But it stays there, so I guess it's cool. I don't think I want that axe. The axe is kind of annoying. But I'll just show it to you. I'm going to give you a taste of every weapon if I can. Charge it up. Nice! So this thing has a slightly upward angle, but you can't shoot it. You can't really... Crap! Ah! This video game. Ugh. And you can't shoot anything when you're on the ladder. Ugh. I'm gonna die because I'm running out of time. Everything about this game is just an F with you. It's the Dark Souls of TurboGrafx games. Ow! I was gonna die anyway. I didn't have any time left. This game's a stupid 2.5-minute clock ticking down constantly. Come on. God, I hate these people. Stupid magicians. These enemies just keep spawning, so don't stay. You can't stay put because the timer's ticking down, and the enemies are constantly spawning. Other than that, this game's perfectly balanced, I guess. Okay, I want the gold. Yes. Okay, on the Super NES, the item that appears in the chest is based on how many chests you've already opened. So I want to say if you open 2 chests, the second one will have the gold armor if you're already wearing armor. If you're naked, it just gives you an armor replacement. So I think the first chest is always going to be a magician, but the second one might be gold armor. I'm not sure. The Super NES, what was it? Nintendo Power released like a Super NES like guide, like a strategy guide or something, that gave you tips as far as like games like this. Apparently there was like some kind of... I guess there was some kind of code that determined what items appeared in the treasure chest. And it was always based on the order of treasure chests you found, I want to say. God! I can't shoot down. I keep forgetting that. Yeah, there you go. Why did they take that out of the Super Ghouls and Ghosts and the Super NES? I never understood that. Maybe they figured it might make the game too easy? Or maybe it's because they didn't design the levels to have, like, vertical elements as much. Because there was verticality in that game, but you could never shoot upwards. You had to get, like, a crossbow or something so you could shoot upwards. Like, crossbows let you shoot upwards. I believe there was another kind of weapon that allowed you to shoot upwards a little bit. But the reason the crossbow existed was because it had, like, a... It was like a vertical spread to it, so it shot straight ahead, and 2 arrows shot at an upward angle, like at 20 degrees and 45 degrees, something like that. It was like 30 degrees and 45 degrees. So that was kind of... And since you couldn't shoot upwards, that was kind of annoying. But there was a weapon you could pick up that if you got the gold armor, I want to say it allowed you to shoot straight up and a little bit out to the side. But it was only when you powered up the weapon with the gold armor and you charged it up. It was a charge attack, basically. But there were so... Okay, so the timer reset once I crossed the bridge, because this is the new waypoint. But this franchise has always been about just garbage. Okay, there's no reason for me to waste continues, because I'm... Okay, so that's the continue. Okay, so that's the waypoint. So if I use a continue here, it takes me right back here. If I only get 3 continues for the entire game, it's not going to get me through the entire game, is it? You can't crouch turn. Ugh. You can't crouch turn in this game. Out of everything else that's wrong with this game, you can't crouch turn. Press the select button to reset. So we'll start again with 3 lives and 3 continues. I'm not going to use any continues so I get past the first boss. I'm probably not going to get past the first boss. Can I earn more continues? I mean, that'd be nice. I mean, I know these games are supposed to be hard, but I mean, it's just some garbage all the time. Jump. There they are. Okay. I had to time my projectiles so that as soon as he materialized, I could shoot him. I mean, there is a kind of a delay to this game, but the problem isn't the delay. The problem is the garbage. The problem is all the BS and the you know, all the randomly spawning enemies that come out of various directions, and the fact that you can't change directions while you jump, and the fact that weapons have such a low rate of fire most of the time, and the fact that you can't crouch turn. Like, just everything. And the fact that enemies just keep spawning in just bad places, and they never stop, doesn't help either. Like, you have to, like, some people just don't remember. Like, why were these games hard? Well, some of them were, see, that one shoots straight up. Some games were just hard because of just straight up quarter-munching BS. Like, enemies, like, invincible enemies were everywhere, and, you know, the fact that you lost all your power-ups when you died, it was too easy to lose power-ups. Charged weapon. Yeah, this is kind of interesting. Ah! I was trying to show off my charge attack, and I got ganked. Wow, how did I avoid that? And again, they placed that plant with the projectile spitting right where the ladder is. Like, right where the ladder is. And that's the kind of game this is. They will literally put stuff right where, like, knowing that you're defenseless coming up that ladder. You can't shoot anything when you're on that ladder. Oh, yeah. Yeah, shoot, yeah. Stab upward. Serves no... This is not a projectile. But it has an arc to it, so I think that might make it just a bit more useful. Can't reach them. So eventually they come swooping down. So if you had a projectile weapon, you could shoot it straight up. I don't want that axe. Okay, I got that one. I don't want the axe. I don't want this axe. Ah, never mind. Again, this isn't like Castlevania Symphony of the Night. You can't switch weapons if you don't like the one you're carrying. And the clock just reset because I crossed the bridge. So that's my waypoint. I made it through without dying, but I didn't make it through without... I did take a bit of a hit there. Whoopsie. As soon as the tornado hits the ground, it bounces off the bottom of the screen. Again, you don't have a double jump, so, you know, what are you going to do? And you can't attack these things while they were in tornado form. Made it. Yeah! Got a duck. This is the other problem. There are save states here. I'm not going to abuse those yet. I'll use those later. Give me that. Watch there be a magician here. Whoops. Seriously, watch there be a magician here. It would be the worst. Save states do make this game more playable, but in a lot of ways it's kind of like Battletoads. Like just garbage and not enough checkpoints. I mean, the mechanics are way better than Battletoads, though, as far as, like, you know, the weapons you can carry and all the options you have. This allows you to attack upwards a little bit. Where's that chest? There it is. Of course there's a magician. Ah! Of course there's a magician. Okay, screw all of you. Ducks can't swim. I mean, right? Of course ducks can't swim. They don't float in water. Must be a witch. Actually, no, she's not. I guess the duck wasn't a witch. Okay, we'll try one more time. Look, this game sucks. I mean, let's be honest here. We're adults now. We're not children forced to play video games that our parents bought us when we were... Whoops. See, again, we're off to a roaring start. We're not kids anymore. I mean, we're mature enough to know the difference between good game design and archaic quarter-munching BS. When you think microtransactions were bad, think about the microtransactions of game developers that intentionally made video games that took your quarters by making them completely, patently unfair. And you can't say they weren't unfair, because the fact that you died so many times just trying to learn how to play these games is the problem. Whoops! Right off the bat. Ugh. That was me, though. I'll be the first to admit that was kind of unfair. That was me messing up. See, I like how these like crawl on the ground. This is way more fun than the holy water in Castlevania. Because their conceit was, look, this is an arcade game. You'll just go nuts with the spectacle of throwing weapons around. That was always fun about this game. Like all the weapons you had available to you were always just, well, most of the weapons were kind of amazing. Like all of them have, all the weapons you got were most of the weapons were interesting in some way. So you kind of wanted to experiment with them. So if they ever made this into like a roguelike platformer of some kind, like some indie developer could make like Battle Maiden Madeline sequel, and it would be like a roguelike. It would have like, a bunch of different weapons. You can weapon farm. You can whoops it. Oh, come on! Tell me I couldn't reach that thing? Guess I was supposed to crouch. Okay, we're starting over. Screw this. But yeah, quarter munching BS. Microtransactions are one thing. The fact that you literally can't make progress at all without just pumping quarters into the machine a lot of the time was sucked. Because the game was so punishing that you had to spend like $2 or $3 just to learn how to do the basic stuff. Like, what does this weapon do? What does this weapon do? I mean, there was an attract mode, before you put the quarters in. You can kind of see how the game played a little bit. It's an old school arcade strategy, watch the demo mode just to... Ugh! Watch the demo mode to see if you can... okay, screw this. You can watch the demo mode so you can see how to play the game generally. Because the game will show you, you can throw your weapons upwards. You can throw them downwards. You can get different weapons as you go. There might be magicians inside a treasure chest, Some enemies are invincible, or this is how you might take out a particular kind of enemy. So the game would make some of that stuff clear before you put your quarters in. But a lot of the game was just sort of based on, being obtuse. Okay. I probably need to stop going after him, because I want to see if I avoid him entirely, if I can still get the gold armor from the next treasure chest. From the hidden treasure chest that's over here. Enemies will drop random weapons. This is another problem with this game. Enemies drop random weapons, and they'll sometimes accidentally drop a weapon you don't want. And as you saw earlier, the weapon that gets dropped will be literally in your path, and you can't get over it. So now I guess part of the strategy is not killing things that might drop weapons you don't want. Like, don't kill enemies, like, right in front of a ladder you can't get around, that kind of thing, I guess. Because there's so much of this game, it's just BS. Like, it's too much randomization. Like, there should have been some decision made at some point to say, okay, some of this game is going to be, like, precise. Give me that. If I can charge this up. Didn't hit it. I can throw these upward, but they're not that useful. There you go. Yeah, that's how you do that. Whoops! So the strategy isn't based on, like, determining what weapons you can get, and then, like in Contra, a lot of the levels were designed around getting specific weapons that appeared in the screen. The weapons that appeared were always deterministic. You always knew you were going to get a spread gun. You always knew you were going to get a laser. And if you needed one, the game would usually provide one for you. I can't throw these up. That works, I guess. Yeah, this works against vultures because it crawls along the ground. Okay, I'm running out of time. So all the vultures don't attack you. Yeah, so again, sometimes enemies drop random weapons right in front of the guillotines, and that's not cool. And it's weird, it's like the guillotines don't have any buckets or anything. Or any neck stands. It's weird. It's like the guillotines are just there to F with you. Yeah, it probably isn't a good weapon for this area. An axe might be better. Yeah. Or a sword actually would be really interesting. There it is. Okay, watch this thing be a magician. Yes, it is. Ah, come on! I need to start using save states. So if I've mentioned most of the quarter munching BS that this game does. You've seen it literally in this video. I mean, again, I want to say the paths, like the vectors of all these Whirlwind Devils is all randomized, I want to say. If you jump vertically, you'll be sent backwards. Again, the magicians are a problem. God. Again, it's all randomized. So, I mean, again, like in a challenge mode, it would be interesting to see a game like this with, like, randomized weapons and such, but I think most of this game should be a bit more curated. Like, levels should be designed based on certain weapons, or based on the fact that you will have a particular weapon. Because too much of this game is based on the fact that you'll just deal with it. Like, if you're stuck with this weapon during this part, you can't switch to another weapon. You don't have the ability to switch weapons. And the fact that you can't control what weapons you have at any given time, you're just going to have to hope that you hold on to a good weapon. Because if you hold on to a good weapon... Whoops. Off the bat. Because if you can hold on to a good weapon, that's better than hoping the weapon you want will show up randomly. So that's always been a problem for me in these games. You can't hold anything that you really like. You just kind of have to hope that the game doesn't drop an item that you don't want. Hope the game doesn't drop those holy waters. Hope the game doesn't drop those swords that don't throw anything. Like, just hope that it doesn't drop a weapon that's going to handicap you in some way. Remember, I mentioned this. PJ DeCaesar did a speed run during one of his charity streams when he was doing a speed run that was almost completely screwed up because an enemy that he killed dropped a weapon he didn't want. So he had to completely change his strategy. Like, if your strategy is based on getting a specific weapon that drops based on a global timer, I mean, come on. That global timer is not going to be obvious. And even then, that's not the kind of Easter egg the average person can figure out. Like, you have to go to a ROM and, like, change some hex values to know what that's about. Okay, so yeah, I didn't get the golden armor here. So the first treasure chest is always a magician. Oh, I can't go backwards. Huh. So now I know the first treasure chest is always a magician, and the second treasure chest is always golden armor. So I have to account for that. So I'll keep that in mind. So it's beneficial for me to uncover that hidden treasure at the beginning of the stage. Sit. I'll take that. I like the arc on this thing. It doesn't throw anything, but it's got a good arc. What does this do? You charge it up. That's cute. Got him. But remember, I can't attack while I'm on the ladder. Because in Castlevania, we don't have stairs. I mean, even Castlevania Adventure lets you attack when you're climbing the ropes. Like, you can actually whip somebody when you're on a rope. That's some feat of athleticism. But, that's not the kind of ludonarrative dissonance we're talking about. Nope. You can't reach it. Stabby, stabby. Yeah, I was able to reach it. There you go. Didn't know that was possible. So I guess swinging upwards is useful in this game. Excuse me. So how much more random BS are we going to see? I have to do a save here. Okay. By the way, when you pause the game doesn't give you any idea. The music doesn't stop. There's no pause. There's no pause text that appears on the screen. It's just that. I don't really like this weapon, but I'll make it work. Okay, timer reset. Let's go. So now I got my save state. There is a magician over here. So is it like every other treasure chest is a magician? I didn't want that axe. Ah, let's see how this does. Yeah, don't mess with the magician now. Let's just get past this area. Careful. Okay, we're out. Watch there be a magician here. Nope. Take that shield. What do you call this? Because it's not called a shield. Let's call it a slider shield. Like the Jerry O'Connell show that was on Fox. I believe Mark Scott Zickery was hired as a fixer for that show. After that Peck and Paw dude showed up. Season 4, was it? Ow! Yeah, it was a bit of a... That show was a bit of a show, as far as, like, behind-the-scenes stuff. Creative differences. Whoops. Hit him with a randomly generating tentacle. Thanks, Japan. Might just go back to the safe spot. Careful. Throw them upwards. I do like how they crawl on the ground. That's kind of cool. Got him. Game's garbage. I keep playing it though because as an arcade game, it's really great. It's just that the fact that you have to save scum your way through is always going to be a problem for me. Okay, so it's on my armor here. So let me put it this way. If I'm wearing armor, then I open a treasure chest, and then I lose my armor before I grab the golden armor, does it transform to golden armor, or does it transform to a... or does it transform to a silver armor? There's a treasure chest around here. Whoops! Yeah, there is. God, these things are so annoying. I don't want that. Too late, I already got it. Didn't want it. I want to say the shield's objectively better than the spear. Maybe it's not as strong, though. Oh, for crying out... These things are everywhere. When do I get extra lives, anyway? There has to be, like, a Konami code or something, like... For 66... Like, wasn't there a code for the NES game, Ghosts and Goblins, where it's like, yeah, you can get 63 lives if you press this random button string or something. Not in the mood for that. Got him. Wow, just avoided him. Gah! Again, this game is garbage. It's just straight up garbage. Just BS and nonsense all day, every day. Okay, we'll give it one more try. We're not gonna get past this entire level. I just kind of want to see what's up. So I got my gold armor. I got my sword. Let's go. Let's freaking go. This game's a trip, but I mean, it's just unfair. It only works if you have like a Game Genie, which I don't think they made a Game Genie for the TurboGrafx. For crying out loud! This freaking game. Ow! Okay, we're done. We're done. We're done. We're done. We're done. We're done.